Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. We're the fledgling organization known as Town Center Talks. But I don't think we could open with a better guest. Brigadier Genera-Laurie Farris is here, and Commander of the Air National Guard, 157th Refueling Wing. We have the logo up there and everything, and Jordan appreciates that. It looks pretty cool, stuff like that. Since I was a kid, there were KC-135s flying over my head, and but Dad said, you know something? That means someone's coming home, or someone needs a lift heading overseas or something like that. So you always knew there was something special about that aircraft, and of course it was a part of General Farris's life, and there's new planes to be seen. So at this point, General, the floor is yours. Genera-Laurie Farris.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Sean.
You bet.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's such a small little group, so I figured I'll just have a conversation with you guys. Is that good? Because and I know half of you. Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah, I know John. She's wired, so she's good. I'm wired. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, exactly. So I guess I'll have to see myself speak after a while, which is always terrifying. But I just want to thank you for doing this. So it sounds like a really cool thing you guys are doing. Like every month or so, you're going to have another guest speaker. So I'm honored to be kind of kicking this thing off, and hopefully you get some more energy out of this, and you get more people coming in, because I'll try to set you up for success here. So John just said a couple things. He's like, just come in and talk about yourself, kind of like how I got here. Maybe some things going on at Pease, and I'll let you know a little about the future with the KC-46, because it is good news right down the road here. Some good things are happening. But then he told me the only other general he met was Chuck Yeager. I'm like, all right. I'm sorry, I'm not Chuck Yeager, okay? Yeah. I won't be as grumpy and ornery as him, but I don't have the cool stories that he does. I'm sorry, but I'll do the best I can. And it is hard to believe. If you asked me how you became a general officer, my family's still in shock. It's just crazy. And Billy Budd's one of the ones that knew me the longest. He knew me as Captain Farris, and it's been a long way, but just a few years. You're right, that wasn't that long ago. I will tell you this, I think a lot of it was just hard work and luck, and I think that's what luck is, when hard work and opportunity meet, and I think as a general in the Guard, that's kind of what made it happen. But I get to speak a lot, especially at women's groups for women's leadership things. They ask me to speak, and I go, how did I get here? And I learn more about myself the more I talk, and it's really, I think, three things with me were my passion, my grit. I was never the most talented at anything, never the smartest, but I never gave up. And the third thing was I'm just an eternal optimist. I wake up every day thinking there's going to be something good today, and that kind of got me through my life so far. So the first thing was passion. I went on my first little airplane ride when I was a little girl, and you guys probably all heard this story. I went on an airplane ride in New Hampshire, right? And I was 11 years old, and I was with my mom and dad, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So we landed, and I go to my mom, I think I know what I want to do. I'm going to be a stewardess. That's what they called them back then. Yeah. And my mother looked right at me. She goes, why don't you become a pilot? And I looked, my mother was outside the box thinker, There was no such thing. I never saw one, a female pilot in the military or the airlines. And it was like, I guess so. And then she was really smart, because she goes, you could go to the academy. They're letting women into the academies now in '76. So she was smart, because she knew that was free. So next thing you know, yeah, so that's kind of what happened to me. And then in '82, it's funny, when I think about it now, literally my parents drove me to Logan Airport with a suitcase. I had never been west of New York. Honest to God, I maybe Worcester and then New York. I went to see Niagara Falls once, but that was it. So here I go on an airplane, see ya. Like nowadays, I took my kids to college tours, everything. I would never just send them. So anyhow, you get there, and the academy's still 90 miles south, and you don't know where you're going. And anyhow, I look back at the academy. We were just talking about General Desjardins. I always mispronounce her name, Desjardins, and she was in '80. And I just cannot imagine. The academy in the '80s was not a very good place to women, and it was all the subtleties. You just never fit in. They kind of made fun of you a lot. Didn't know what to do about that. But I always look back at that time. I go, you know what? I made it through, and that's in the past, and it made me stronger. And if I can make it through that, I can make it through anything. So, and I went back 30 years later. Still kind of felt a little sick in my stomach, but it's actually come a long way. From people that I hear they're there now, it's a much more positive environment, and it's a good place. So I'm glad to hear that. And a lot of it, I own it. Believe me, I was not the best little cadet at all. But that's okay. So then I get through there, and I get to go fly. I get to pilot training at Vance. Where'd you go? Did you go to Vance? No, Bill?
Me?
Yeah.
No, to Moody.
Moody. You went to Vance, Jordan.
No, it's
He was Columbus. Jordan's my exec officer. He came here to be my wingman here today to help me with this. So, I know, isn't he nice? So so I go to Vance and I show up the first day and there's 50 men in the class and just me as the only female. I'm like, oh, guys, here we go again. But the good news is I realize, and I tell this to a lot of women now, I go, if you just do your job and don't create drama, you're part of their team. They don't even care. And that's really what worked for me. And I had a really couple good friends there that helped me get through, and we all helped each other. And those were the good days. I love flying jets. That was my passion. I got to fly the T-38. They didn't let women fly fighters back then, but that was the closest thing to a fighter. So life was good when I was there. And then it's time to fill out your dream sheet, right? So I'm like, well, I want to get back to New England. I want to go to Pease, right? So I put a Pease tanker. Yeah, you know where they sent me, don't you? They sent me to Loring. Yeah, northern Maine. Oh, that's close enough. Like 8 hours straight north. Like, where the heck is Loring? Yeah. And that was my SAC days. Just like, you know, we sat on alert. I thought my life was over again, but it wasn't that bad because everybody there was young and you're all in the same boat. And, you know, I wasn't a big hunting and fishing person, but I did like my snowmobiles and I learned how to fly fish and whatever. Just do the best you can. We sat on alert all the time. That's all we did. And the Cold War was going on in the 80s. And then all of a sudden, 91, well, actually it was 90 when Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait. And that's when my life changed again. And it was time to, we set up air bridges, just like we did here at Pease, you know, between Nantucket and Nova Scotia. Basically, we passed gas and sent overseas. And we went to the, well, they told us too, hey, pack your bags. Well, how long? Well, we don't know. Just pack your bags, you're going to go somewhere. And we went to the Azores, a little island off of Portugal, and we set up air bridges there, and that was our first mission. Fast forward, Christmas time, they sent us down to Diego Garcia, beautiful little island in the Indian Ocean. Yeah, that was not a bad place to be, though, and I look back at it. And we were refueling B-52s going in country. So the night one of the war, I'll never forget that. We were in a room a little bit bigger than this. All my bomber guys and tanker guys. And meanwhile, the bomber guys were from Loring, too. The guy sitting next to me in that briefing, I'll never forget this, was my neighbor. He's like my best friend back at Loring. And now we're sitting here in a room, and he's like, holy crap, you're going to war tonight. And it was a very surreal moment. You know, it was a secret classified mission. This is really happening. We didn't know what the statistics would be. We didn't know if my buddy would be coming home. We didn't know. It was a pretty serious moment. And then that night, we're all there on the ramp. Those bombers all loaded up, tankers all loaded up, and off they go. We were a spare, so we got to see everybody launch. And now it's like getting late in the afternoon. We come back to our room, and we're like, what do? You can't sleep. You know, you're up all night. And the B-52s had they had 10 hours in country, 2 refuelings, dropped their bombs, 2 hours, 8 hours back. So they had a long day. So we would wake up in the morning like you kind of felt like it must have been in World War II. Are they coming back? And one by one, they all came back. And we did that every night for, you know, weeks. And then, anyhow, that was a very pivotal moment. Like, how did I get here? One minute I'm sitting on, you know, complaining about what's Taco Tuesday, what's for lunch in the alert facility. Next thing I know, I'm out there, you know, refueling bombers that are going on target. So that was what happened then. And then my next time was Georgia. Anybody go down to Warner Robins, Georgia? And I'm a girl from the north. It didn't really fit in down there. My husband was from the south, so we tried. Anyhow, and that's when we just had kids, and I had my daughter, and I was like, I just didn't want to be gone all the time. I wanted to be home with my kids as much as I could, and that's when we realized, well, Pease has a National Guard base. That would be a perfect stay-at-home mom job. I could come back here, be local, and my mom's near here, and so that worked out well. I got hired at Pease in 1995. That's when I probably met Billy, right? I don't know, were you on the hiring board? Even the hiring board, like all men, you sit around this board, you go in, there's like 12 of them. They're all just drilling questions at you. I'm like, oh God, this is crazy. But they were a great group of people, and I finally felt like I fit in somewhere. You know, I'm in New England, and I'm in New Hampshire, and not Pease, and I was really psyched. So life was good then. I flew once a week. My husband worked in Boston, so I kind of balanced the jobs. And then, as we all know, 9/11 hit, and that's when the world changed for the guardsmen back there. He knows too. Tony was my maintenance guy back there and knows. The world changed that day. I realized I had a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. I was basically the stay-at-home mom. My husband traveled a lot. And I was like, well, what do I do now? I could have left. A lot of people did. I don't judge them because everybody's life is different. But I was like, well, I think I can make this work with my family and support because the Guard's going to get even more busy. So I was able to stay because of my family supported me. Billy knows, we did CAP missions over DC, New York City, combat air patrol missions is what those are. You know, you'd fly over, the first morning, September 12th, you fly to DC, not one other air traffic radio. It's just bizarre. It's very quiet that day, yes. Very quiet for a few days. Very strange moment there. And then it was time to, we went over to Marone for a couple months. So my kids had us, you know, my husband was able to balance his life that day. And I'll never forget, I tell this story too to some women. I'm at the bus stop and I'm talking to the lady. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be gone for a few months. Just make sure my kids have the same shoes on. I mean, I'm not really picky, but you know, my husband's trying. And she's like, well, why are you leaving? And I'm like, well, because it's my turn and I got to go. And she goes, but you're their mom. And I still think that, I always said this, my kids will be okay without their mom. Like they have my mother was there, my husband was there, my neighborhood. And, but they're not going to be okay if they're in a country that you can't be free. You know what I mean? It's my turn, I need to step up. So it's going to be fine. And my kids, my 4-year-old son doesn't have any recollection. My 7-year-old daughter definitely knew when I was gone for a while. So that was another moment in my career where I was like, should I stay or should I go? And that's the only reason I'm still here today is because my family was able to support me through all that. It was there. I have a great family. So then fast forward, how'd I get here? The coolest job ever was I got to be the flying squadron commander. I think you had retired at that time, Billy. I was, that was the neatest job when you're the flying squadron commander. So you're in charge of all the squadron, the booms and the pilots and some of the support. And like, you know, it's like James Doolittle in that movie. Like you're going, I'm going first. I just love that stuff. So that was really cool. And then in 2011, they moved me up. They promoted me, which is nice, right? But then you got to go to headquarters, and now I'm separated from the flying group. Jordan knows this. I love going back to the ops group where I can talk flying. And all of a sudden now I'm up at a staff and headquarters. It's not as fun. But I realized I have to do a job. So it was the perfect timing to talk about this KC-46. It was 2011, and we started knowing the new plane was coming and how does New Hampshire get on the map. And it was not that hard to talk the story because our strategic location, we're closer to the refueling tracks. We flew more hours than any other tanker base did. And I would go tell that to the congressional delegation, to Air Mobility Command, to the National Guard Bureau, and I would be their voice telling them all these cool stories and brag about Pease. And wasn't hard to do. And we did. We wanted to surround the communities too to let them know that this is a great community to bed down a brand new airplane. So then fast forward to we got announced, 2013 was the announcement that Pease was going to get the KC-46. Okay, now what are we in now, 2019? It's coming, okay? We got 2. All right, I'm telling you, this is my optimism kicking in again. I go, it's going to be okay. Any transition's huge. In 1975, we transitioned from C-130s to 135s. Yeah, and I mean, it couldn't have been easy then, right? Like in the Guard, you got to get rid of all the old stuff, which my last time I talked to John, we had the last 135 fly away, and that was, I don't know if some of you got to go to that. It was like an emotional day for me. It was like that plane was all I knew how to fly, and it taught me and all of us, all of the base, like it taught you how to fly, taught you how to lead, taught you how to communicate, taught you how to do all kinds of things, and that plane was good to all of us. And it brought us back safely all the time, thanks to our great maintainers that kept it going. And to say goodbye to that old bird was a little emotional for a lot of us. So that's what happened just literally this April of 19. In the KC-46, we have 2. They showed up in August. I don't know if any of you got to see that on the local clip. So we should get some more. Next one's coming January. All of them should be here. All 12 should be here by June. This is my optimism speaking, but.
What do they do with the old planes? What do they do?
The 135s?
Yeah, desert,
No, the Boneyard, no, a lot of them went to different units. They did. I think every one of them is still flying. I think ours were, the guys here, am I right here? Yes, I have my little audience that knows what they're talking about. Yes, they literally all, our planes are taken care of so well, even the 1957 model, the oldest one. I think some went to different Guard units and some went to active duty, but they're still out there flying. But
if they're using them, why can't you guys still use them?
well, yeah, well, I know. Well, the thing is, right now we're going through training. Like Jordan has to go through KC-46 school, and then once you're in the Air Force, once you fly one plane at a time. So we had to get rid of all the aircraft equipment, the age equipment, the aircraft ground equipment, and get rid of all the other stuff and bring in new. Our hangars are totally torn apart. Right. So yeah, as you know all about our hangars, yeah. So hopefully.
I suppose they're working on the second one.
They are. You see the cranes, yes. So the first one should be done hopefully April of 2020, and then the next one will be done I think the following summer. So it's like we had to get rid of everything before we started. Now, some of our pilots and boom operators are up in Bangor flying KC-135s just to help out that unit. So if they want to fly, they can. Or we have a lot of guys like Jordan's an American Airlines guy, so he's out there flying for the airlines right now, taking advantage of that. And then once he gets his school date to start 46 school, he can start. But I don't get to fly it, though. He does. That's what's... Anyhow. No, it's great. But, yeah, what you guys got any other questions? I mean...
Altus, Oklahoma, that's a boom operator school.
No, it's pilots, too.
So for him?
Yes. Yeah, Altus is... Yeah. That's... Exactly. Yes, sir, it is. Yes. That's where all the, what else trains there other than the 135s? The C-17s? Yeah. Yeah, so all those are going to be there. Boom operators and pilots. Yeah.
Okay.
In Altus. What's that? Bill? Did you have a question?
It's getting big.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been there a long, I know.
It's a really big base.
Yeah. They're all, yeah, that's a training center. And the problem with the KC-46, it's so brand new. We've never, even when say the 135 came here, it had already been flying other places. Nobody's flown this KC-46. It's brand new to the whole Air Force inventory. So it's a little bit challenging. Like they're testing the airplane at the same time they're fielding it. Did you see Vermont just got the new F-35? But the F-35's been flying for a while. And their pilots are already trained at Hill and they're ready to go. We're doing it all at the same time. So there's a lot of growing pains. Yeah, but we'll get there. And once it's done, you guys realize we could do an Aeromed mission, we could do cargo missions, lots more passenger hauling, and it can refuel with the basket and the boom, the same flight. So it used to be like when you flew the 135, you were either going to refly a F-18 receiver or an F-16. Now we could do both in the same day, same sortie. So I think it's going to change a lot. We're going to grow from 8 to 12 airplanes, which is good for the Seacoast too. Have you seen it flying by here? Okay, it has. Yeah. Okay, so at first it was going to be. We got here in August, so the first 60 days were just maintenance trainers because they have so many inspections. It's like getting a brand new car delivered to the factory. You've got to go through all these inspections. But it's actually starting to fly. I mean, we've had a few sorties, and I know the other day I was like, oh, one of those days, and I looked up and I saw it flying over, and I'm like, oh, I needed to see that. Like, yeah.
Boom operator in the front?
Yes, he is in the front. How did you know that? That's
Because my husband was retired boom operator.
okay. Yes, they're up in the front now, which it's a little different. They literally play a video game. So, it's called an ARROS now, Air Refueling Operating System, something like that. So it's a visual. It's like it's just a big camera.
The picture of the newspaper.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Installing in the.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We were stationed at Bangor. Down.
Okay.
Northern California.
Oh, not Merced. What was it called? Castle Air Force? Yes, Castle and Beale. That's where I went to school. Did you go to Castle too? Castle was nice before Altus, I know. Yeah.
Is a boom operator capable of fueling any plane or different size planes, or he has to retrain on a different plane all the time?
That's a good question. So they're trained on everything. They do need to get, now I'm talking back in the 135 days, they had to get like night heavies every now and then. Like they had to get qualified in each one, but most boom operators are qualified in everything. They needed their currency, right? Was that it? It's more of a currency thing. So if they hadn't flown against the heavies, so the heavies are obviously your big.
The rental wants to be the same, pretty much. It's just that
Yeah.
sometimes the other plane needs more attention because it's bigger or something. Or
It's different, and you could tell the boom operator that was very experienced and maybe the receiver pilot that wasn't. The fighter guys, they're so much more maneuverable back there. They just park it in there. But the heavy, it takes a little bit more work, especially if you're in turbulence and it's at night and stuff. They need a little bit more experience. And there's a big bow wave. It's aerodynamics. They're pushing the back of that airplane up. So.
then you got to watch out for contact with sparks and stuff like that. I saw this before, somewhere.
Oh, the St. Elmo's fire, or do you mean the
Static electricity.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes that's that St. Elmo's fire you'd get over the middle of the ocean at dark and the electrical field. Yeah, it's a different thing. But yeah, the boom operators, they just need the currency. But they're qualified to do any receiver.
I have a friend that belongs to
Oh, who's that?
Matt Rogers.
Matt Rogers.
He's in our.
Oh, okay.
He's a staff sergeant. He went to school for 2 years up in,
Altus,
where?
Altus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a boom operator, and now he's come back, and now he's just reserve, I think.
Oh, okay. In the 157th?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, belongs to the National Guard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
National Guard,
157.
Matt Rogers, okay. Yeah.
Staff sergeant.
Okay. That's good.
I have a question.
You're good. Yeah, what do you get, John?
Keep us updated.
Yeah, I need it, yeah.
Be able to answer this due to operational. Do you ever gas up a blackbird?
Oh, yes, I have. Well, okay, so it was a special, that's a throwback question. So, back when I was at Loring, I got to fly on it was a Q model. Only certain tankers could refuel because their fuel, like when we fly the 135 and probably the KC-46, whatever fuel we burn, we can offload. Well, that fuel was very different. You only the center tanks couldn't feed your engines. So I was on a Q model once. I don't know why, but I was on it, and I remember sitting in the back, and I got a picture of refueling the Blackbird. What a cool plane that was! Yeah. Did you get to see that? You got to do all kinds of stuff. No.
Well, we said we never got to, one time we were supposed to go on an orientation flight
Yeah.
for video and do the whole bit. The weather was horrible, it was just terrible. Plane went up anyway, and it ended up, they were gassing up the Blue Angels.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's cool.
The Q models were McCoy, and the headquarters Beale.
Yeah, Beale. Yes, that's where I was on it. Yep.
They had the full Qs, and McCoy had the partial Qs,
Okay.
and refueling the Blackbird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like very interesting.
Yeah, there was something. Yeah, like they couldn't. They had their fuel was different than ours.
JP7.
JP7 versus JP.
In the forward and after bodies,
Yeah.
and you never decked the drain, but you couldn't touch the wing.
You couldn't mix the fuels was a big thing. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they were just, the tankers would be a high-speed buffer,
Yep.
and they would be on low-speed buffer.
Right. Yeah. No.
They were going as slow as they could.
No.
It was fast.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. One time we were flying across the ocean. I got to think it was the first, the 03, like Iraqi freedom. And the secretary, we were refueling not Air Force One, but somebody important. The Secretary of Defense was on the plane. And it was like bumpy and everything. And I knew the receiver pilot. And he's like, you just knocked him out of his bed. I'm like, oh, you know. That was my only thing. I was like, oh, shoot, I did? Yeah. But I think that was his fault, not mine. But no,
Are you gonna fly this KC-46?
So when you make general in the Guard, you're pretty much done flying.
You are done flying?
Other than,
Don't you have to maintain flight status? You have to fly so often for flight status?
yeah, so they don't let you fly in the Guard when you make general because there's only so many positions and it should be the captains and majors that are doing it. So active duty generals do, but I do fly in the airlines just to keep, because once again, it's my passion, I kind of miss it. But the cool thing is with the KC-46, when the deliveries happen, they do let a general officer sit in the seat. So the last one we had delivered, General Rice, who's the director of the Air National Guard, 3-star general, he outweighs me, so yes, sir, seat is yours. So whatever you want. So I do think, and Jordan knows I want to be on one. We have 10 more deliveries, and I think I deserve, I shouldn't say it like that, but I really would like to be on one. Yeah. You see how it goes. But yeah, you do need to maintain flying status. That's why when you make a general in the Guard, you're pretty much done flying. So it just is what it is. Like I said.
How far do you fly out of these to go on a mission or something?
Yeah, the longest I could say I flew from here to Hawaii. Is that probably about the longest you've been? You two? That's probably the longest. I mean, or going all the way over to Qatar, LUD'd. What is that? 10?
We would go all the way from McCoy to Hickam,
Yeah.
and over to Okinawa.
Have you been on one longer than that? Is that about? Yeah. Alaska to Guam. Yeah, the Guam mission's a lot. Yes. So we don't have any, now the KC-46, you'll be able to receive fuel too. Like in the 135 we had, you couldn't receive, you could only give off gas, so we only, exactly. So now if you get refueled, there's no limit really.
Weird, because one refuels the other.
Exactly, yep. That's what we're gonna start doing now. You'll see 46 passing gas to a 135 or a 46 to a 46, but Yeah, I want to say the longest we usually go is 10, 12 hours. It's same thing, going to Guam, and the Pacific's just huge.
You ever fly in, wartime thing, any of you guys?
Well, the wartime we do is basically over Iraq. You're in, I guess they call it combat missions now, just if you're in,
No, I'm just curious,
yeah. They used to keep the tanker way over here. Now you're closer and closer and closer. And, surface air missiles or a bad guy could come if you're anywhere near Iran. I mean, I don't know how much this I can talk about. Yeah, he's been over there. So I didn't go. Dynamic, yeah. Like I would say, Jordan, I haven't been over there in 2010. Because then when you make colonel, they don't want you over there anymore. So I don't know if you have any more to say about, you're dynamic because you want to be wherever the troops are in contact, you need to move. You need to be, if there's troops on the ground in contact, you need your fighter over there, and the fighter says, hey, we're going over to this box, the tanker needs to go with them, and he's in charge of that.
that's flying in Iraq or any place in war must be, a little uptight, not tight, but scared a little bit, but you can't be too scared because
Yeah,
you gotta do your job.
you got to do your job. And if you don't get the gas on that F-16, and the F-16 can't be above the Army guy on the ground, then that's our job, to push the limit. But is that basically what you would say? And it's a dynamic thing, because what he says is, and you, if you want, go ahead and speak, or you want me to keep talking. It's very dynamic, because they'll say, you need to go to this kill box, they call him. I mean, and then he needs to calculate it all in, and you're just two pilots up front, and the boom operator's in the back passing gas, so that it's quick, and you need to get over there as soon as you can. And
there's been multiple times I've been over there where there are troops in contact on the ground, and you have fighters going to support those guys, and you want to do your best job to get past the fighters because they aren't going to be able to, we call it loitering, but hang over the troops and provide the air support they need if they don't have the gas.
yeah.
So it's a big puzzle piece that
Right.
continuously kind of slips and slides and fits together as you're over
How
there.
high do you go to refuel, 30,000 feet or something, or more?
It depends on the receiver. I mean, in A-10, you're down in the teens, and maybe an F-16, 25-ish, 21, but and then when you're crossing the ocean, you're up in the mid-20s, probably with your chicks in tow on your fighters, but I don't think I've gone any higher than the 20s refueling, and then A-10s, we used to fuel A-10s all the time up in, but then when they left Bradley and Barnes, they were down here in Massachusetts. Did you ever go up to, you'd be at Loon Mountain, and there goes an A-10 flying down you missed it. I know, they were cool. We were really low with those, but we were below 18 for those, right? Yeah, in the mid 12, 15,000 feet, because you had to get yeah. So, I mean, he's right. The war environment totally has shifted since the 1980s when I flew this thing. You're not going to be anywhere, other than if the big nuclear bomb, the SAC days, right? We're all hurting if that ever happened. We still train for that, though. We do. To today's world, where the tanker is right in the mix, and it's a high-value asset. They call it, they know if they take down a tanker, that means they're taking down all kinds of fighters. So we're definitely a target up there, and we don't have much defense.
Yeah, we know it's probably your tanker, I suppose,
Yeah, we're not wicked fast, are we? We're heavy, and we're going to turn. Yeah, here we go. Anyhow. But
Maneuvering is not as good.
no, maneuvering is not its strength, no. And they say the thing about the tanker, it's so reliable, but that's the negative thing, too. Like, they know we're always there. To Jordan's point, whenever there's troops in contact, your ears pop up. We got to get over there. That guy's at bingo fuel. That F-16's got to get back. We got to get him his gas. So, what, you going to say something? Oh.
I was just going to say your story of the Desert Shield.
Yes.
A bunch of us left pieces.
Yeah, you were in Jeddah, right? Were you?
No, some went to
Riyadh?
Cairo West, the airport.
Oh, Cairo. Yeah. Okay.
Then they had a big game in Morocco. So we were over there, and we spent a couple of days, and we flew back, and John Greenham was the nav.
Oh, yeah.
John Greenham, and they came over this communication on the HF. So then he said, Billy, listen to that. I said, uh-oh. Because guy was giving everything codes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, here we go again. He was, we're off at it again. I said, this sounds very familiar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And then
The traffic.
introduced to the guard, the first time B-52s ever left the continental United States to fly a mission was out here. We refueled them, coasting out.
Yep.
Four B-52s, and they were met by Mildenhall, and that was like when Desert Storm was kicking off.
Right.
And it was the first time ever they were refueled. They were going out and coming back to States.
They didn't go. Yeah.
Mildenhall got them, and then Pease got them again.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, that's another big mission we have here, the Tanker Task Force mission, which, what did we just looked at that, what, 97 it started here? So a lot of planes, you guys have probably heard when maybe there's a bunch of F-16s sitting here on the ramp and they need to get over to whether Germany or LUD, wherever they're going. Our planners all mission plan it all, and a tanker will start taking them across, and just like what you said, whether it's a bomber or anything, and then another tanker, maybe out of Mildenhall, will come meet them in the middle of the ocean and drag them the rest of the way, because our fighters can't get across the ocean without.
No different subject that you brought up earlier about women in the military. I agree. I think women should be in the military because I think they can do just as good a job as any man can do.
Yeah,
Now, when I
it's
was
changed.
in the service, right, I was in Navy, a destroyer.
Oh, okay.
And of course, back then there was no woman that I know of in any Navy, or maybe I was wrong about that, but back then there was no separate compartments like there is in the ships today.
Yeah.
Okay, like the USS Michael Murphy, which I know they have different compartments now.
Yeah.
There's a lot more women on that thing than you can believe. Which
Yeah.
is all right with me.
Right,
I
right.
love it, you know?
Yeah. No, it's
But
funny.
I just wanted to let you know that, and even in the Coast Guard, after I got out of the Navy, I was in the Coast Guard, and there was a lot of women at that time when I was in the Coast Guard too.
Yeah. No, it's
But I
it's
just
just.
want to congratulate you with that.
Oh well, thanks. Well, there.
You,
Yeah.
You know, I'm for women doing the same job as we can.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I got to speak at the Vets Home last week. That's why I couldn't come here. Have you ever been to the Vets Home up in Tilton, New Hampshire? It's beautiful. But I did a shot. I noticed there were a lot of women vets there, and I always thank the women vets that went before me because they're the ones that had it way worse than I ever had it. They paved the way, and they didn't get any credibility for it. And it was, you know, I always reach out and thank them because, and you know, you talk about the academy. The first time you show up there, if you've been there, it had the big "Bring Me Men" ramp, and you know, oh, okay. And then which, I mean, they should have kept that. And then I'll never forget, all the bathrooms, they had urinals still in them because there was, and they had potted plants in it. Like, oh, okay, I guess they think that's kind of cute. So they tried to, and you know, in the Navy, I remember going, I forget what base I was at. But we still see this, where it's a men's room and you flip the sign at WO in front of it, like, okay, I'm coming in. Yep. Anyhow, but it's nice to see now. I don't even think people think twice at it. It's just you just do your job and nobody seems to care. And it's nice to see that. I think the pendulum's totally swung. It's a whole nother environment. Yeah.
everybody's contributing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And we need each other. You know. I mean, we do. We need each other's strengths. I mean, men have certain strengths and women do. No one is better or worse. We're just very different. And I think.
5 years ago, the Post was invited to go to West Point.
Oh.
Do a tour beyond what the visitors would go.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of women
Yeah.
there, you know, and I was kind of happy.
It's impressive that, yeah. Now they have women rangers, and there's nothing eliminated, which is it's great.
What's your long-range plans? Personal growth.
So when you make general in the Guard, since you stop flying, they give you all these other jobs. So I also work in SAF IA, Secretary of the Air Force International Affairs. So it's kind of an interesting gig. I went to the first F-35 arrival in the Netherlands, and to represent the United States. It's weird, you guys. Like one minute I'm sitting at a table with Belgium and Netherlands and Denmark, and okay, what am I going to talk about to make everybody happy, But you try to spread good alliance because we need all these allies and stuff, but it's just interesting. So I got to do that for another year, and then, maybe it's time for me to let someone else do this job. So just give me I'm 55, I'm 56. I'm getting, just a little over 39. That's right. So I don't know, maybe another year or so, and then let someone else get a chance, because it's been great, but I get worn out. He knows. He sees my schedule. Talk about grit. I'm like, I look at my schedule for a week. How am I going to get through this? You know, and but you do. Somehow you do. I know. It's not pretty. That's the thing. Sometimes I have some pretty rough mornings. Like, but
How many years in the military now?
you're gonna ask me that. Yeah, like 32. Yeah. So I graduated '87 from the academy. So yeah, 32. I'm going. Yeah, that's a lot. Thank
you.
Oh, yeah, but the guard's been good. The guard's great. It's just hard to balance it all. And you guys, they give me like a little office down at the Pentagon, but when I go in there, they're like, oh, it's the guard lady. You're not included as much, and they don't realize I'm also back here in my state doing this job, and I also try to fly for an airline, and I'm not, just because I don't plugged in. What's that? Try to be a mother. Well, they're almost done. Well, they're empty nest for the most part, but yeah, exactly. It's a different world, and I don't know. I struggle with that sometimes, but you can only do the best you can.
Are they making any progress on putting the laser thing on the bottom of the tankers?
Yeah, the remote visual system, RV. So that's supposed to be what, another 2 years? So the camera system. Oh, you were talking about Lercum? Oh, you would.
KC-135s or the KC-46?
Are you trying to put them on the 46 and the 35 both?
They're on the 46. The
Yeah.
135 have been approved and funded, so they will get them,
Defend them against the SAMs.
more or less.
Yeah, so the 135s, it's like a module. You plop it on, and then they can go put it on a different one. But in the 46, I think it's pretty much in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that see, you didn't have any of that. It's another defense system for the 135. Yeah. And your son flew 130s, right? So yeah, they didn't have much either. Yeah. It's they're starting to figure out that they need more, the heavies need a little bit more attention than they used to. Because the 130 is another workhorse. It does everything. Yeah. So.
The interested observer on the street like me, reports are when the new one flies over their house, it's quiet and graceful. That's what we keep hearing.
Oh.
Very quiet, very graceful.
Oh, yes, very.
Well, 7.6, yeah, it's a beautiful airplane. Quiet and graceful. I think that's a good way of putting it.
It looks like a 7.6, but like some steroids.
A little puffed out. We'll have to get you guys up to tour on it. You know, I know we talk about that. Yeah. Since it's such a small group, we'll talk to Jordan. He can take you up there. But
You have obviously a boom operator, that much I know.
yes.
But what about a loadmaster? Do you have to have a loadmaster?
No. So the boom operators are going to be loadmasters too.
So he's going to be trained?
He's going to be trained. Yes. In fact, we have a whole fuselage trainer for that. So.
Does he go to Altus for that?
Yes.
Does he really?
But I think our booms are. I bet if we have cargo and a refueling, you probably have to have two boom operators. Our crew ratio is growing.
On a KC-135,
Yeah, that's true.
I've had 2 boom operators for doing a cargo mission.
Yeah.
But on the new one, yeah.
Load operator, load the fuel in?
No, to load cargo. So the plane on the upper half is just wide open with rollers and stuff, so we can take pallets of cargo. I think 13. That sounds about right.
I have to check the fact sheet.
Yeah, check our fact sheet. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But we can carry more medical evacuation, which we're going to posture for too eventually, because we used to do the medevac mission with the 135, and it was fine, but it was like, if you've been on a 135, your feet freeze and you're sweating up here. The air conditioning's awful. The electrics were terrible. So the KC-46 is going to be much newer and quieter and what? You know, it was just the KC-130 was a great plane, but it was loud and cold and.
Especially the water wagons.
Oh yeah, that was, yep. We flew those.
I flew from Japan, I was enlisted, flew from Japan to Korea on a C-124.
Oh.
That's before you probably.
That's before me, yeah, the C-124.
Was troops on one side, and in the middle was loaded with fighter plane engines.
Oh, wow, yeah. Jeez. No, they're never, I'm sure that was not a comfortable ride. No, yeah,
But it went from Japan to Korea.
okay. Yeah, but to answer your question, our boom operator's job is going to get even bigger because they're going to be flying up front with us, more part of the crew. They're going to be doing more cargo, I can only imagine, passengers and stuff. So, and their system's a lot different than it was. So we just had a couple booms come back from school though. Al and Dan and both love it, you know, and they were like, Al Bolio, you know, been there forever. And he's like, you know what? It was kind of a cool mission because,
Star Wars, the boom seat.
yeah, they're wearing 3D glasses and, yeah, okay.
Alex the veteran.
Yeah, Alex.
He's a boom.
Yeah, you know him?
Who's that?
Great kid, Alex Betcher. He's
Okay,
got a lot of
yep.
operations.
And you know Matt Pongras too. Matt, puppy. You know Matt? You guys know Matt? Yeah. He lives down the street. So I should have had him come speak instead of me. I'm gonna have to tell him that. Yeah.
It's ironic, when the Air Force, after the Vietnam War, they decided to close bases. It's
Yeah.
ironic to me that they closed Westover and McCoy,
Yeah.
and so we had choices, we came to P, a lot of us came to P's. And then it's ironic that they closed P's.
P's, yeah.
When it was in New England, went to Lawrence, they closed Lawrence, they went to Plattsburgh.
Plattsburgh,
then
yep.
they went into the Guard, and now who's going to have the KC-46 to continue the mission of these?
Yeah. No, you're right.
KC-46.
Yeah.
It's like, what were you guys thinking when you started all this menagerie back?
I know.
You know, and after the Berlin Wall came down,
Yep.
and then again after Vietnam was over, like closing the bases, it's like,
Yeah, and when they looked at the 46, the final ones were McGuire and Kansas, Forbes, Kansas. I don't know why that one was in it. Pittsburgh. Well, McConnell has it with the active duty. Yeah, when we're talking about the guard bases. But McGuire, we had the data for them. We said they have so much traffic, airplane traffic, that they burn like an extra 1,000 pounds just getting up. You know, here we take off, we get to go. Yeah, it's too. Yeah. And Pittsburgh didn't have the ramp, and so it was nice to have Pease be the data was driven, just like you said. KC-10s, yeah, KC-10, yeah. Yeah. They have like reserve and active duty and everything there, so.
They are getting a KC-46.
They are, the reserve unit is, yeah, not the guard, so the reserve unit is, so.
Was the KC-10 sort of a follow-up?
Yeah, that was like the hybrid of the kind of the 135 and a cargo plane. You know, it can force extend more, it can carry more gas, but I think that's on its last leg too, from what, yeah, I hear. It was just a bigger engines and could go further and stuff, but yeah. But
Well,
all right, have I talked enough? Are you good?
I tell you, now we're going to move into the presentation stage.
Okay. You guys are a very good audience. Thank you. Thank you.
So, George, you want to come up and George, come on up here, and we've got a little something
Okay.
for the base.
Oh, okay.
I was at Hampton Airfield
Yep.
a few years,
Right-
number of years
right
back,
around- Where
and
is
they
it?
were
It's like
having
right
a flea market. And just rummaging around, looking at some stuff and everything else like that. And I learned, I go, what is this stuff doing here? This shouldn't even be out here. I said, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to take it, but we're going to return it to the base. So, in case you get one of these planes coming in the future,
Okay.
there's an operations and flight manual for
Wow.
KC-97
Oh my goodness.
strato tanker.
90. Look at this.
Yes, yeah, that's the, that one there.
Maybe Billy Budd can
Photo.
read this. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Started out from the
Did
casing
he? I swear, I have a book that doesn't look that much different than this. Like before, now everything's on an iPad, but
You might have a reference library, or I know you have that with that wall with
Yeah.
the historical reference wall, whatever.
we do, and the ops
And
group
it also
has a
had the
nice little
Loadmasters slide rule.
Oh, very cool.
So I figured, well, that's kind of a, it's the Loadmasters,
The load, like
sort of a slide rule.
slide rule?
balance. Yeah, yeah.
so they did their balancing on this. Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing? Like, you know, even in my day, well, you did too. We flew with navigators that, you know, we did the sextant shooting the stars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So I knew
very cool.
someday,
Thank
somewhere down the
you.
line, I said, the day's going to come where we can,
Oh, this
we
is
can do
cool.
something with this. So I started reading, going, man, that thing was a beast.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
my
was like-
goodness, yeah.
We brought the little model over there, but
This was
Yeah.
Tech Sergeant Swain. I don't know.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you.
So on behalf of us, so we want to give you that. And also, this is for you and your...
Oh, yeah. I might have, do I have one? Yeah, I'll make sure. Yeah, can you do, okay. Oh,
For your
oh, I
office,
love
if you
this. Oh, this is beautiful.
Canvas.
I could take this down to the
Yeah, there you go.
Pentagon, too. So to Live Free or Dies down there in
Yeah,
DC.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
I love that.